Hello everybody, welcome back to Familia Pablanu. I am the one and only Anu.
And I'm Pablo, just Pablo.
And
here we are enjoying a beautiful day here in the Pearl of Africa.
yes,
The
yes.
best yet. Mama Africa, your children are home.
And remember, we stopped telling you guys about how we found land. Now let us tell you.
We were so excited, right? Like we said, we were an immigrant family.
Yep.
We had sold everything. We came here, we budgeted. So we're like, okay, if we're planting avocado trees, you know, they'll produce in about 2.5, 3 years. So let's budget so we have enough money, you know, to survive until then.
And now until then, we can plant our own foods and it will grow. And there's two growing
save
seasons.
Even more money by growing our own food.
Exactly.
Save money by building our own house.
Exactly. And then we have also biogas to get gas to cook food, as well as solar and all that.
Yes.
All that
so
self-sustaining.
We didn't even say what biogas is.
I did mention it, but I didn't say what it was. Biogas is using all our scraps, and guess what? We are also plant-based family, vegan.
SOS-FREE.
SOS-FREE. Exactly, especially for the biogas, because you cannot add oil, salt, and sugar into the biogas. It will not grow. The bacteria will not grow. So all
oils,
our
meats
and meats. Yeah. So all our excrements, it will go in the toilet and it will go into this big old balloon-looking thing.
And the donkey excrement as well. We can put in there.
We added to it. See, that's one of the reasons I want to.
What that does is the biogas chamber, it creates gas that you can actually use for cooking, right? So you can make your own gas, and gas is expensive here. And then also it lets out this effluent, right, which is like this very nutrient-rich water that you can pour on your crops.
That's basically manure, liquid manure, liquid gold.
But it's better than manure, because manure will burn stuff, but this is already, what would you say, already broken down. So it's like perfect for
and right away it will grow. Those things will start growing right away. So we're looking forward to all of that. So, and then what happened?
Well, I guess the first step was like we said in the last one. You know, we bought this land, and they said yes. The only thing we need to do is get these titles out. Like once we bought it, right? Just putting money down, right? We didn't buy the 100%. We put money down, which meant we legally had the ability to take the land physically. But there was one small caveat, which is
the squatters. So the thing is that we wrote it in the agreement. You get the titles for these two family who are squatting on the land, so that they get their share, so that they are not.
They withdraw, take their crops with them, withdraw, spread
from
out.
that acreage that we want to buy, that we're buying.
Exactly.
So, and that was when they do that is when we can actually go on the line and start, because we can't do anything now because those two families are still there. So once they get out from that area, then we can start doing, and we'll give them the remaining half of the payment. And we're looking forward to that. They said, don't worry, we'll just take 2 weeks.
Take 2 weeks. So 2 weeks go by, right? Then this broker that we were working with contacted me and said, hey, so here are the fees that we need to be able to pay for your title. And I'm like, wait, there was nothing in the agreement about us paying for the title. It was, you get titles for these people, we take physical possession, then once you get the title out for our piece, like once that's cut out from the larger one, then we will pay the remaining 50%, right? We don't pay before then. And there wasn't anything about paying for the title, so I was like, what? And luckily you were like,
because everything with this guy is rush, which, oh boy. So everything that is this guy does, he does is really, it's urgently, and that is actually one of the characteristics of a con artist or a 419, you call it in Nigeria. They make you fast. Okay, you have to do this, pay this money now. It's required, because if you don't, we don't. Yeah,
and always giving hope. You know, it's like, okay, so yeah, it's either the what is it, the carrot or the stick. So he uses carrots a lot, and he would say, hey, yeah, so you pay this, and if you do it now, we can start tomorrow, Monday, and have it done by the following Monday. So 1 week, and you'll have your land. And like, wait a minute, let's start.
Yeah, so when he was doing that urgency, I'm like, wait a second, it's not supposed to. We're not supposed to be paying for this title for those people, and then for ours.
Had her.
And then I was like, okay, wait. No, according to lawyer and the arrangement, that you're not supposed to get that. It's like, okay, but they're working on it. They're working. Don't worry, they'll work on it. And the guy also does the land.
Like, but that's how I got the price so low, was because of that.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, you didn't tell us that.
Right.
You didn't tell us anything about that.
It turned out the price was not even that low. He added to it.
It was probably supposed to be much lower than that. So.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, so then he's like, oh, okay. So then we're kind of like, okay, not hearing back from anyone. Like, what's going on with that? And then in the meantime, this broker was like, all right, so yeah, things are going on. So let's just let's start preparing at least, you know, because the rainy season's coming, and this was back in like September.
But there was
rainy season's coming, so let's start buying stuff.
But before he did that, he had contacted you and told you that he needed some money for medical bills for his relative that's in the hospital. And you told his brother, who was actually a lawyer, that put you in contact with him. And you're like, this guy is asking for some money. What do I do? And he's like, no. Don't engage in that kind of a monetary thing with him.
And he was really
just
weird.
tell him you don't have anything.
Because, you know, here we were discussing like, okay, how does planting avocados work? Because he knows a lot about avocados and stuff. So he was like, yeah, this is how you can do it, layouts, this is how many trees you could have per acre, So we were working on that, you know, surveyor plans and things like that, getting things laid out. So, okay, we could do like 5 acres, maybe do 3 acres here, 2 acres there. All of that stuff was going on. Planning, and then something happened to a relative. I think they would call him brother. I don't think it was like
one of had an accident or something.
Yeah, he had a pretty terrible accident.
Money right away.
Far away.
And the reason why he's the only one that they contacted, I don't know. He's the only one that needed the money urgently.
So then, like some of the family members who were in Kampala, hey, Sirika. So then. Where were we at? So yeah, a lot of these, we knew some other family members as well. One of them was a lawyer actually, and he and others, you know, they immediately went out to their hometown to visit this man in the hospital, you know. So this broker guy.
Why would he be asking us for money? That was very strange.
And he was like, oh, this is terrible. My brother, it's terrible. You know, I want to get some money together, but I don't have any. I want to go visit all these things. So I need this much. It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's okay. You can reduce it from the
take it from the money that the
50% we still owed on the land. Because this Musawo who sold you the land.
But as soon as he said it, I'm like, no, that's not an agreement, because if you give that man, if you don't give him the 50% and you say you took some and you give it to that guy, you want to cause trouble with that guy.
And as collateral, he sent photos of his title for his land. And I'm just like, what are you doing?
What would we do with that?
What? You mean so that we can sue you and take your land if you don't pay back? Like, what? I don't understand.
We're not dealing with that. No.
Yeah, I was like, sorry. I mean, we really don't have a budget for this.
Right. But then what happened is that this guy turned right around and says, you know what? The land is almost ready, anyway, the title's almost ready anyway, so let's get preparing for the land. And we're going to need this and that. You mentioned all of this. Go ahead and get the planting to get fencing and get manure and get the seedling and get this and that. It mentioned all of this amount that amounts to the tithe, almost the amount of the money he was asking for.
So anyway, so me gullible, I'm like, oh, okay, great, okay, buying this. And I was a little bit like, you know, after that weird asking for money, then like a week later, he's like, hey, sorry, I've been out of it, but let's start getting work on this. And I'm like, okay, right, back to business. All right, sure, back to business. And he's like, okay, so we can get seedlings for this, and we
manure,
can, get these seedlings to grow for the boundary fencing. We can get all this manure. So he's like, get all this manure. It was like 6 truckloads of manure. All of this was pretty dang expensive. I was like, okay. And I didn't know to like bargain stuff back then, or be like,
maybe not.
Yeah, how much is the guy actually asking? You know, like stuff like that, asking questions. I was just like, okay, I trusted way too much. You know, he was very friendly.
It was friendly, too friendly. Yeah, so
and very knowledgeable.
He answered the questions. So we thought, okay, this is it. We have all these things prepared, so we can get on this land and start planting. We're excited because again, we don't really have plan B at this point. This is all we've got. We're like, okay, if we can get to the next planting season, get on this thing, hopefully, at least
this was still September, October,
Yeah, we'll get on this really fast. We're excited, but it turns out that the squatters are still there, and the title is not yet out for them.
Okay, so this broker guy, he was telling us, he was like the mouthpiece of
the seller
who owned, the seller of the land, and so he would like tell us things and say, oh yeah, this is happening, whatnot, and let's see, it was like September. He was like, yeah, we can get this in 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks passed, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is going on, that's going on." So he would kind of give us hope and say like, we were still anxious, but it was like, "Oh, it's okay, tell you what, give me, facilitate me." By the way, here facilitation could mean anything from a bribe to paying for someone's lunch to paying for someone's
transportation.
Transportation is most common.
Yeah.
So like, facilitate me to get to this location where the land is. I'll talk to Musao. I'll talk to some of the squatters. I'll talk to people. I'll talk to the land office that's doing the
and to see what is happening.
Titles, to see what's happening. So stupid me sent him there several times. If he even went, we don't know.
But he sent photos. He sent photos.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes we send photos of them gathering as if they're doing a.
Yeah. Okay. So there were several times he's like, yeah. So this is what's going on. This is what's going on. And then he's like, okay. So we really want to get you on the land so we can get planting. He's like, so yeah, facilitate me again. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna talk to everyone. So he got the owner together with, or at least he showed us a photo of this owner as well as all these the villagers and whatnot. And we're like, we've met a lot of these villagers and don't recognize anyone here.
We don't recognize any of those people in the photo.
So it could have just been a photo from some completely different thing. We don't even know.
Yeah.
But he would say, yeah. So we talked together, and they said they would take some time to think about it. But we wanted them to at least open up 5 acres for us to be using. They can keep using the other 5. When in fact they were only using like 2 acres to begin with. Now that we know this, but anyways, so that's what he was doing. And at a certain point, I was like, okay. And he was like, and I was telling them, come with us to the land office. We took some of them to the land office and had them explain that, the titles are 80% done. Yeah, all this kind of stuff.
We even met with him. We had a lunch with him one time. Was it around November? I don't remember when it was around.
Yeah, so then when he came back from that, I was like, we got to meet. So we met physically.
Right.
And we talked to him about it.
And it was and I noticed that whenever I talk to you, I always want to talk to you because they think you have all of the money and they want to just talk to you. He just sort of ignored me. And he was asking, because I was still there, I was hearing what they were saying. They were saying, at the land office, which it didn't make any sense. He was saying, it was gibberish.
He was trying to say...
He went to the land office and...
give money to facilitate this gentleman in the land office to push things, to like put your file on top to get it done faster. I'm like, is that how they do things here? Okay, maybe. So even sent some money to essentially, I don't know if you would call it a bribe or whatever, but it's facilitate, right? Facilitate. And when we met with him, I was like, listen, we actually don't have a lot of money. I don't know if you know this. I was like, we don't have a lot of money. So this facilitation thing, having you go there and all this, when do you think the land's going to be actually ready? And he was like, oh, no later than the end of December for sure. I was like, okay, that's like next month. This was in November when we met him. I was like, okay, that's like next month. We can wait 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever.
Right.
We can wait. We don't need to pay more money to facilitate something in order to get it like a few weeks.
And
early.
He was bummed out. I saw his face, so I was bummed out.
I was like, yeah, man, like, I don't know if you know, we don't have a lot of money. Like
I was like,
we have just enough. So we don't know where this is going. But I still wasn't like trying to say like, oh, I think you're a con man. I was just like, hey, this is a situation, and trying to like see his reaction. So anyways, so he was kind of bummed. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
So then time goes on. Then Christmas is about to come. So we're in like early December. And then get a call from him and get a call actually from the owner himself. And the owner himself was asking for money up front for the titles.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, these titles, these 3 titles, they need, they need to be paid for, the taxes and everything for these 3 titles. So how about you pay the amount for that, kind of round it up for those, and then we will remove that from your remaining 50% balance.
Right.
So you won't have to pay it. So it's just like money up front. But we talked about it, and you're
like, no. This guy has gotten 50%, and the agreement said it would give this title, and he hasn't done what he said he would do.
Hasn't done a single thing.
What is our assurance that he would get this money and he was going to do it? I don't think he's going to do it.
Where'd the money go that we paid the first time?
Right. Yeah. What happened to that? So let's give this money to the lawyer. So the lawyer will go with him, physically to that title place, get this thing going. Let someone go with him. So at least we know that he's actually going there. So he's not lying and saying he's doing something, he's not doing anything. So we did that. So then yeah, we told the lawyer. The lawyer said, okay, yeah. So the lawyer had the money that he was asking for.
The lawyer, we were like, okay, if this is true and these titles are in the office, they're ready to be done, they just need to be paid for, taxes and whatnot, how about we only trust the lawyer to bring the money himself. Go with him, pay himself. We're not giving money to anyone else except the lawyer. Like, he's going to be the one that does it.
Yeah.
And then reports back. So once our lawyer talked to their lawyer, who happened to be a new lawyer, which we're like, okay, what's this whole switch up with a new lawyer? Okay, whatever.
Right.
Talked to the new lawyer and said, hey, this is what my clients want. And they were kind of like, well, you know. And then finally it came out that, hey, there's caveats. Okay, so caveats means that someone went to the courts basically and put a freeze on the land. And what that means is the land, whatever's going on the land, should continue going on the land. Nothing should be changed, removed, added, nothing, both physically on the land as well as in the paperwork, right? So you can't take out a title, you can't do anything like that. So the original owner had put a caveat during the time he was trying to sell the land, just to make sure no one plays any funny business, no one scoops something out from under him or does something weird. So it put a freeze on it basically until he could sell it. Then once he sold it and he was getting ready to take the titles out, took off the caveat. We don't know the timing of this, but he took off the caveat, and then apparently some other people, including the squatters, put caveats immediately on it to freeze it again.
But he didn't tell us.
No one told us.
He didn't tell us. That was early on,
if we had known, we would have immediately said, okay, tell you what, give us our money back for now. We'll keep looking for land. We really like this land. So if the situation changes soon, we'll come back and buy it. But in the meantime, we'll at least look around and hopefully get things moving forward, right? We would have had the option, but we weren't told. We were just told by this broker that, it's going through.
Yeah, it's actually almost 80%,
So we were investing.
Right.
Which all of that became losses, essentially. So once we learned there was caveats, we're like, crap. So we lost a whole growing season, right?
Yeah.
And then, and they told us in January, they said, give us 2 weeks, mid-January,
we'll remove
January 15th,
the caveat will be removed.
We'll have these caveats,
and the titles will be, and it turned out.
Okay, so by January 15th, that would have been, the courts would have just opened, because they were on holiday or whatever.
So it wasn't even possible, the time frame they give. So we give them extra
2 weeks plus like 4 days before sending a letter, and that was our first letter, like legal letter.
So it was January.
So we sent a letter just asking for
information. Tell us what's going on. We want to know.
We haven't heard from you. You said you would get this done by middle of Jan. Here's beginning of Feb.
Yeah, nothing.
What's going on? Send a letter. Said give us a response in 1 week. We got a response 2 weeks. 2
weeks later. So the lawyer was a little dragging. The new lawyer was also dragging his feet. But by the time they sent a letter, they said, letter. They said, we're working on it. The title is. No, they took the people to court and they don't have any leg to stand on, and don't worry, we will get the title soon.
It'll take some time. We have to go through the courts and everything, but these are there. And we're like, okay, when did they start that work? Did they start that work when we put pressure by sending this letter?
Right, because that's when they seem to be responding, when we put pressure.
Yeah, it seems like they were taking their time a bit.
So we said we're done. We're done, and that was.
But our lawyer was like, let's just be patient, give them a bit more time. And then we'll come back and really work on this. So finally we gave, what was it? It was another 2 months almost before finally sending a letter saying, hey.
Said, okay, we told them we've done it in months. We've given them months. Like I mean, it's May now, right? It's April, May, and nothing has been done. We give a few months after we send our first letter. We said, okay, this is it. If we don't get anything in 7 days, we are taking you guys to court.
2 weeks, yeah.
In 2 weeks, we get them 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And
we said, you got 2 weeks to get all, because they were asking for 60 days. They're like, give us 60 more days to work on this. And that was already like late.
I'm like, no, you don't get 2 weeks. We're done with your stupidness or shenanigans or what do you call that? We're like, we'll give you 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, and you have to open this land up, do the title and open it up, or else we're suing you guys. We're sending you to court.
It's going to have to go to court because this is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And then they send a message back, or
within days.
They're like, no, don't worry. That's not necessary because the land is now open up.
It's free. It's
free
ready.
of squatters. Come and take it. You know, we're like, wow, it takes you. We said 2 weeks and you did in 1 week, 7 days.
We should have threatened this back in August. Like, what? So we're just like, what in the world?
Because they know that they did a lot of bad things. Like we suffered a lot on that land, you know.
But so, because I had, you know, we had heard this other agent guy saying things like that, like saying, oh yeah, it's got, you know, you can take it, it's gonna be ready. Yeah. So we didn't know, like, okay, it's free, like it's open, it's ready, or is it like, are we gonna go there and there's people with pangas saying, why are you on our land? You know, that kind of stuff. We didn't know.
Ooh.
So
anyways, we told
schedule a meeting with them.
Right, yeah. So we scheduled a meeting with them, and we were like, we want to. I think they didn't even know that we were going to be asking questions. Yeah. They thought we just want to sign off, or you know.
We just want to talk about how we're going to
take the land. We're like, no. We have lots of questions, lots of things lost, money lost.
There's a reason why we were threatening litigation.
Right, through all this time they wasted. But anyways,
because the losses. I mean, again, the losses that we had were.
Lost 2 growing seasons of avocado.
That was already 2 growing seasons, which is a whole year, right? So that puts us back a whole year, right, of growing avocados, which that's a lot, right? It's a big loss. And on top of that, you know, we had already spent money on all these things that this gentleman who was supposed to fulfill it,
the fencing, for.
So during this time in January, when we're trying to figure out, okay, what's going on with the land, I was also working with this broker guy, this agent, and was trying to talk to him
artist.
About, like 419 guy, and talking to him and saying, hey, we need money, right? We need money. This doesn't seem to be working. We're trying to grow our own food, but we really need, you know, in the rental we have a little bit of garden there, which you've seen. And I was like, hey, it really needs manure. We've already paid for all this manure to you. So please just send one of those trucks. There's like 6 trucks. Yeah. Send 1 truckload just here where we're living. And he couldn't do it. I mean, we were back and forth.
And this was almost dry season. It was like, the roads are bad. This is what he said the entire time.
Roads got washed out. We're like, there's no rain. Another thing is that when we had told him that, hey, we don't have income, you even sent him messages like almost in tears.
I did a voice note sent to him on WhatsApp telling him that our families want us to not come here. They said we're gonna get stranded and bad things are gonna happen to us. I said,
and it looks like you might be part of that.
Yeah, you're part of it. Like, come through for us. Do this thing. Let us get some manure so we can plant stuff on our garden.
And there was
said, don't worry, we will do it. Sorry, madam. Sorry, or what did he say? Yes, we're working hard to make this possible. I'm like,
just to placate. That's all it is. Placate. And like, the biggest thing was that once he had learned back in, I think, November, when we said, hey, we don't have income, this isn't easy for us, like we're trying to survive, you know, and he was like, oh, you're my friend, tell you what if you get into export?
Oh yes.
And he was like, and I was like, export? I don't know anything about that. He's like, well, you can get into it now. I was like, but I don't have anything to export. And he's like, no, you can, I know lots of farmers, I can give you their contacts, you can be, you know, taking from them and exporting, and that way you'll be making some money in the meantime, right? And I was like, okay. All right, so I really tried to start researching that, and he's like, oh, I have a contact who can train you in how to like set this up and even help you, you know, get a license for export and everything. So I was like, okay, but it's a good chunk of money, and I was like, we really need to be saving. We know that this is a good investment, right? Before we put any money towards this. And he's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and he said it has contact for you know,
I was
those
like, do you
people,
have clients? He's
clients,
like, yes. I know people. UAE, UK, and I was like, you sure? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's go for it.
Yeah.
So we met with people.
We got a certificate of export and all of these things.
It took time, it took money, but we finally got certified. Our business got certified for export.
Yeah, so that place, we saw the facility that they clean the stuff and packages for export. It's not too far from the airport too, which makes sense for exporting. So we're already, okay. I would say, okay, now that that's done, we got a certificate. Now, when do we start exporting? When do we start? Give us those contacts,
like, all right.
And the farmers as well.
Yeah, he gave me some contacts of the farmers and stuff, and so because I had to have those in order to get the certificate for us and everything. So we had those. So once once it was time, and I was like, okay, great, let's get ready to export. Let me start contacting these farmers, and the farmers wouldn't contact me back, or they only spoke Uganda, or things like that. And I'm just like, okay. So then when we were thinking about, okay, it's about time to start exporting. This is great. We just need the clients, right? We need those who are importing. So I talked to him, and he's like, oh yeah, sure. This was January. He was like, oh yeah, sure. Let me get those to you. Let me get that list.
Yeah.
A week goes by. I'm like, hey, what's going on? He's like, oh yeah, sure. Sorry, I've been really busy. Been up country, whatever. It was like that again and again, week after week, and finally, that's when you were sending the message like, help us out here. Getting desperate.
It also,
like, please.
It sounds like he didn't even have those contacts. Like he wasn't.
And he was like, oh yeah. I know a friend of mine. He's in UK. Yeah, sure, he can do that. Even some in Nigeria. I was like, really, Nigeria? You didn't tell me that before. He's like, yeah. Some in Nigeria. I just have to sit down. It would just take a minute. I just have to sit down and do it. I was like, okay, well, please do that. And me too. I even sent him a message like saying, please make us a priority. Yeah. This is a big deal. You say you're our friend. Make us a priority. Sit down, write up the list, send it to me, because we got to get going on this. Like, we got to have some sort of income here.
Still nothing. I sent him that. I was so angry. I sent him a message. I was like, come on. Aren't you a human like us? We told you our story. Yet do you even see us that, again, we're here. We don't have any support, any funding, backing, anything. We're here on our own. And
that's when he started like backing off to where he wouldn't really respond at all. I'm like, what's going on? So I use a different number to call him, and he immediately picks up.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah. And then he hears me, he's like, oh, okay, yeah, it's fine, yeah, things are tough, you know, blah, blah. And yeah, it was just really, really frustrating. And so finally sent him an ultimatum letter that was like, here are all the grievances, both as a friend, you failed, both as, a partner,
I'm not even sure that he sees us as friend. I think he sees us as a money bag.
Says, oh, my dear friend.
No, I don't think we saw us as friend.
Dollar signs.
Yeah.
But yeah, so sent the ultimatum saying, okay, just refund us everything in 1 week, right? You have 1 week to refund all of these things that we've paid you for because these are services that you haven't provided, so pay them back 1 week. Long thing. And I was like, okay, these are the things. Oh, and send the list. If you're really our friends, send the list of those buyers abroad, right? And he comes back and says, oh, sorry, yeah. And I was like, okay, it's been like almost a week. Please have these items. He's like, what items? Oh. I was like, did you even read the text, man?
What item?
I was like, read the text. It's at the bottom. Like,
oh my gosh. So
then he
that was
hadn't responded.
Right, it wasn't happening. Anyways, so what happened next? So we went to do a meeting with the landowner and their lawyer, and us and our lawyer too in Kampala. So we'll tell you what happens next. So you just have to watch to find out what happens next with our land issues and stuff.
Because this was the stress that we were feeling. We just want you to know, like, the stress, the mental anguish that we felt. Because it's just like, is it happening? Is it not happening? Are we wasting money on this? Is this happening? Not knowing what's going to happen. And that's why during that time, we ended up doing the movie.
Oh yes, that is why.
Because it fell on our laps. Basically, this opportunity to film My Love from Another Land.
Yeah, so maybe the lawyer said, oh, do you know this Kevin Johnson of Kenya? Well, like,
it was
no.
through the lawyer, I forgot.
I was like, okay. So she actually called, and like, she was my student, and she was a lawyer, she's a lawyer too, and a director. And then she called us up. Do you know, I have a client, they want to, and then before we know it, we're talking, us. And then the magic happened with the My Love from Another Land movie.
That was in August when that happened. So we're like, okay, well, while this land stuff's going on,
let's invest in this movie so that at least we know we did an investment and it will bring a return.
Which we're still waiting on.
We're still waiting on that to come through for us.
We're working on distribution, but we'll let you know when the movie is available in your region. So stay tuned.
Yeah. All right, we'll catch you in the next story time, I suppose. Until next time, Odabo from the Pearl of Africa. We say Odabo.
Ciao.
Adios.